So I've been on a mission. I think you've been on a mission as well, trying to help out as many athletes, as many people as possible. So through my time, I've always felt, for me personally, athletically, professionally, I've always done better when I've had structure, when I've had routine, and I've been consistent through that. And following, kind of looking up to you all these years, I felt you're one of the best people to speak to that. So you've been world known as a powerlifter, deadlifter a substantial amount of weight. And in order to pull weights like that, I'm sure you've had to have a pretty strict structure and routine to kind of bring you to those numbers. So if you want, just speak on those numbers a little bit and your journey through that.
Okay, great. Thanks, first of all, for inviting me on, and I really appreciate it. And I feel pretty confident I could talk on this subject matter, give some expertise. Starting with the lifting portion of it, as you prefaced. My best lifts at 181, I pulled 661, and then at 198, I pulled 694. And leading up to both of those personal best meets, I had a 12-week program, documented everything, and I followed that program, to a T. And every time I competed, at a high level, I found that by having a routine and following it, I did my best when the time was, when the meet was on. And I found that having an Excel, I like using Excel. I'm a big Excel guy, big Microsoft guy. I like putting everything in Excel. To me, it's like personal accountability. So I'd lay out 12 weeks, and then after each workout, when I would sit in front of my PC, it's a PC, it's a giant monitor with a tower. I would actually, then type in what I did in that workout. And I was doing the workout, it became like a challenge that I know, hey, in a couple hours, I'm gonna be sitting in front of that PC, and I have to type in what I'm supposed to plan on doing today. That's personal accountability. And that's what structure is all about. Like, who are you going to be accountable? You have to be accountable to yourself. If you're not accountable to yourself, you will be accountable to no one.
And I imagine going through that whole process, almost like you're creating your own world. Obviously, you're a successful man, you have a wife, you have daughters, but you're kind of creating your own world. You're going through your training and then sitting down to document that training and set up the next session or program the next 12 weeks or what have you. You're creating your own world, and it must even add to the motivation through the process. So it's not just you have a goal, you want to achieve it, and that's it. It's you have a goal, you want to achieve it, you start the process, and that motivation to achieve that goal kind of grows even more. Would you agree with that?
I agree with that 100%. And everything is in planning. The big expression is fail to plan, plan to fail. And it's so true. So how does that unfold? You have to make sure you give yourself time. It's the most precious commodity. And what I personally do, this might be extreme for a lot of people, but this is what I found very, very effective. I get up an hour to 75 minutes earlier than I need to each day. Because this is what I found. Most times, once you leave your house, once you're away from your house or your apartment, wherever you might live, you become the slave to time. You have the job to go to, you have this to be there, you have to be there, over there, whatever it is, you're a slave to time. When you're home, early in the morning, so for me, I get up at 3:30. I know it's extreme, I get up at 3:30, but guess what? I am now control of time. I have 75 minutes now. I can think, I can plan, I can look at what happened yesterday, I can plan on what's going to happen today, and I can peer into the future a little bit. Because I know for 75 minutes, no one's going to be calling me, there's no emails to answer, there's nothing going on at 3:30 in the morning. And again, it's very, very difficult to take control of time, but that to me, it's worked very, very well for me. And it took a little discipline. Hey, 3:30, the alarm goes off. Actually, I don't even use an alarm anymore. I just kind of get up, look over it. Okay, it's time to get up. Let's get this day going.
Yeah, I think that leads very well. And then this goes deeper than just training goals and things like that. This goes more into business, being a successful business owner. Structure, routine is important for that as well. So I'm sure this method that you've been using has helped in that area as well.
Absolutely. And during that 75 minutes, right now, like my life really, because my children are adults, they're out of the house, they're grown, they're successful. Right now, my new children, if I may say, or my new family, is really the people that I work with, who work with me and help grow my businesses. Mm-hmm. So during that 75 minutes, I usually think about each person, where they fit in, how they're doing, how I can help them get better, what can be done differently to basically make sure we all work together. Mm-hmm. And a lot of my thoughts really go to, how do I help enhance the culture of the businesses? I come from a service background. I worked at UPS for 27 years. I held many different positions there, all type of managerial, operation, staff positions. Worked with a lot of people. And the one thing, anytime you have a service job or service business, the number one commodity, if I want to call it a commodity, but the most important thing to the business are the people. So as I sit there for that 75 minutes, I think about the people. Mm-hmm. I think about, hey, how's everybody doing? What are they thinking? Are they where they should be? What can I do differently? So it all goes into the planning process. Mm. And again, once I leave that door, and the door closes behind me in the morning, and I come to the building, it's hard for me to really sit down and do that. Then it becomes more, hey, this person called looking for you. Hey, what's that? Hey, we got this coming in. We got that going on. Hey, how you doing today? You got meet. So much going on, you don't have the opportunity to sit quietly with your thoughts.
Absolutely. Now, speaking in terms of like today's youth, today's typical, we'll say, high school athlete, obviously, especially with the younger kids, it might be difficult for them all of a sudden tomorrow decide I'm going to wake up 75 minutes earlier. So what recommendation would you say to, let's say, a sophomore in high school who's an athlete, has some big time dreams, but maybe lacking on this routine, structure, consistency side of things, but is hungry to improve? What suggestion would you say to him or her to kind of start the process of building this structure routine in a manner that they can sustain it?
It's how you eat an elephant. It's in small bites. Mm-hmm. And I think the biggest problem is people want to eat the elephant today in one bite. This has to be developed. The routine doesn't, you just don't start, you're right, you're 100% correct. If it's your training, if it's your diet, if it's your relationship skills, whatever it might be, it doesn't happen overnight. You just don't say, I'm going to turn on a switch, I'm going to start getting up 75 minutes early, I'm going to be a really great parent, I'm going to be training every day, I'm going to have a perfect diet. That's what people want. It takes time, takes patience, and the process has to be very, very slow. Get up 5 minutes earlier, get up 10 minutes earlier. Then maybe the next couple of months I'm going to make a little bit move to get up even a little bit earlier. And that's true for anything you do. If it's your diet, if it's your training. Too many people today, I haven't trained in 7 months. They want to come in 7 days a week. I hear it all the time. Yeah. I go, how about we come in 3 days a week or twice a week, see how you like it, you build into it. Then maybe in a month you'll come in 3 times, and eventually you work your way up to 4 or 5 times a week. Yeah. Problem is they come in 7, it gets too overbearing. 3 weeks later you never see them again.
Yep. And then they get discouraged because they think the feelings that they got, that overwhelming feeling, they think that's the norm when it's not. They just tried to go too hard too soon or what have you.
Excellent comment, because that's what happens. Yeah. You become overwhelmed. It gets to the point where I don't like this. Mm-hmm. I don't want to do this. I don't want to eat cottage cheese every morning. I don't want to not, have sweets. I don't want to work out anymore, because it does become overwhelming, as opposed to it becoming pleasurable. If you take the small steps, it becomes part of your routine. Your routine becomes success. You thrive off of success, and then it becomes pleasurable. Yep. And to me, getting up 75 minutes, there's times now I even push it. I'll get up even like 2 hours early. I'll get up 120 minutes early, just so I can have that extra time. It's a form of meditation, but it's just so peaceful.
I was just going to say, I imagine in terms of planning out your day, it's great, it's vital, it's important, but just in terms of mental health, obviously, unfortunately, the world we live in could be so loud and noisy. That 75, 120 minutes by yourself has got to be huge just for clarity.
It is so quiet. You definitely go back to a different time. Yeah. There's no phones, and I just sit there. Basically, I have a very, if anybody really knows me, I like to rock a lot. So I have a very comfortable rocking chair. So I just sit there just like this. And now the mind is moving along with my pace. There's no distractions. I could really see clarity. It's so peaceful. Now I understand why the Buddhist monks go to the top of the Himalayas, because there's no internet connection up there. But
no distractions.
No distractions.
No distractions.
So you could basically create that bubble, if I may say, early in the morning.
Yeah.
I don't know about late at night, but definitely early in the morning, because there really is nothing going on 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning,
No.
unless you're delivering bread. I mean, there really is nothing going on.
Now, you touched on it briefly. You mentioned it a couple times. Obviously, training's important, right? Having structure is important, going up to practice, all things like that. But a lot of times, in order to get the adaptations people are looking for from training, diet is also equally, if not more important. So speak to a little bit. I know we've had conversations in the past about your diet. I've asked you a couple times, what would you have for breakfast? And you mentioned you had a specific breakfast that you had for a pretty long time running. I think recently you changed it a little bit, but just speak to that a little bit, the importance of being consistent with diet and paying attention to what you're feeding your body.
Yeah, I get this question a lot. And again, everybody always asks me, I'm 56 years old now, and I'm in pretty good health. I could perform at a pretty high level, and a lot of it's due to my diet and my routine. You have to be able to maintain it, and it has to be convenient. If it's very, very difficult to maintain, at the first sign of trouble, you're going to stop doing it. So I've created a very, very good system. So as far as like shopping for the food, eating the food, and what I bring to and from work. So very quickly, my first meal is the only, I'm pretty much, I'm not 100% vegan, but pretty close right now. But the only dairy I have at all is cottage cheese. So every morning I have 1 cup of cottage cheese, 1 cup of Fiber One cereal. It's a really, really good non-high fructose corn cereal. Half a cup of almonds, half a cup of blackberries, half a cup of raspberries. That's every single morning. And I'm saying for 365 days of a calendar year, I'll have that probably maybe 362 days. The only days will be is when I'm out of the house. That's the first one. Come to the facility, I either train myself or have some clients. I come back and have my second breakfast, which is 2 cups of oatmeal in almond milk, more almonds, blueberries, mango, banana, and strawberry. That's a big, like 1,000-calorie second breakfast. Now, my third meal is something I take here to work with me, or to the facility when I really work to the facility. It's a cup of mixed nuts with seeds and cranberries, and a cup of dairy-free yogurt. Then my fourth meal I have is a shake with 2 cups of oatmeal, a banana, and pea protein. And the last meal is, my wife has become a very, very good cook. She's really, really good with bean dishes. So she'll make usually a dish, like say on a Monday, it'll last me 2 days. And she'll make something on Thursday that'll last me 2 or 3 days. So I'll have like a bean dish at night as my dinner, which I really, really, really like. And I'm talking about, that's not like a week or 2, that's like 5, 6, 10, 20, maybe 25 years now. And to me, it's all part of the routine. And again, I look at food, I look at it as fuel for my body.
Yeah.
So as an athlete, I still consider myself to be an athlete. I like to compete in different things. I look at it as a way to fuel my workouts and maintain a high level, especially at 56, it becomes a little bit more challenging. I noticed with the dairy, that's why I kind of knocked out the dairy except for the cottage cheese, causes a lot of inflammation. So I kind of knocked out the dairy except for the cottage cheese. So I really, really like cottage cheese. Sounds crazy as it sounds.
Now, again, like anything else in terms of, waking up 75 minutes early, it might be difficult for someone to do that tomorrow, the next day. Same thing with diet. Planning something like that's that precise is going to be difficult to just jump into. So just like anything else, baby steps.
First thing you start with is, in my opinion, start with the breakfast. Okay, I'm going to go shopping once a week or twice a week for the cottage cheese. I buy the night. My wife gets me the nuts in bulk, and we have a lot of nuts in the house always, and the blueberries once a week. So you buy your groceries once a week. Set the breakfast up. Get used to having that. Now the cottage cheese, I'll never forget. This was about 25 years ago. Cottage cheese. Everybody's talking about cottage cheese. First time I have it, I can't even eat this. Second time, oh man. Third time, you know what? I can tolerate it. By the third week, I need my cottage cheese.
You want it now, yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So you get used to it. Start with the breakfast, then you start making baby steps. And then where does the convenience come in? If I'm a student, can I bring a shake to school? Is it a protein bar? Is it nuts with the yogurt? You start picking your spots, but it has to be convenient. Because if it's not convenient, you're not going to do it.
Exactly. I think one last thing I want to touch on briefly for any young fathers like myself who might be listening. These might be difficult things to do. So how, if you don't mind me asking, how did you manage this structure, this routine through raising two daughters, two very successful daughters?
I appreciate that. What happens is you're a parent, just as I am now, and I almost don't feel like I'm a parent anymore because my kids don't even live at home anymore. But you really understand how important time is. So obviously, our time for these type of activities becomes secondary. So then you start picking your spots. You really have to be on point with your scheduling, because I remember taking my daughters to all kind of games and here, there, school, this and that. You really have to get very good at managing your time, because the last thing that you want to do is neglect your family. Because I'm very fortunate that I have a very healthy relationship with my daughters, with my wife, and always put them first no matter what. I found a way to train if it was really early in the morning or really late at night, and all the hours I was working at UPS, but no matter what, they came first. And that's the most important thing, because when they become adults, that's the payoff. Because now you can have great conversations with them, which we both do. My one daughter's 28, my other's 25, and we have great conversations now, and they'll thank you.
Yeah,
Trust me on that. It's the payoff. All the hard work you do now, all the sacrifices you make now, they are worth it. Just do it. Be a good parent. Be there for them.
Absolutely. So, Coach, lastly, everybody does the big things. Everyone shows up to practice. Everyone shows up to games. But what separates the average from the great is always
doing the little things.
The little things. Thank you for the talk, Coach.
My pleasure. Thank you.